What's up, guys? I'm Tinashe Moyo, and welcome to another episode of Stride. On this channel, my goal is to inspire people to take the first step towards their goals in life using my personal experiences. And in this video, I will be talking about a few things that I'm looking forward to do, particularly my goals. So I'm just going to run through a bit of the goals that I have set for myself. And I hope this is going to be an episode that's going to teach you something valuable. So sit back and enjoy. Okay, so welcome back, people. And I'm sure as you can hear, you can actually tell that I've got a flu. I've had this for a couple of days now. I'm just grateful that it wasn't as extreme as the one that I had like 2.5 weeks ago. Just unfortunate that there's been a flu bug that's been going around. So, yeah, anyone can just get it. It's not about who's weak, who's strong. Anyone can just get it. So, yeah, we just get on with the show, anyways. So, this episode is just a laid back kind of thing where I just want to run down a few of the things that I feel I need to do, like some goals to at least improve myself, because I think it's something that's really important. Um, it's something different from some of my previous episodes where I'm just talking about my past experiences. But today, I was just like, let me just take this time to at least go over these things, at least with you guys following. I really hope you can learn a thing or two from that. So I want to credit this idea to a podcaster called Shimon Davis. So I don't know this guy personally, but I bumped into his content I think a few months ago, and I really enjoy his content, because he's also a guy who talks about you know uh, personal experiences, giving advice to people. So I learn so much from that guy. So one of the episodes that I watched was, I think, this one where he was just talking about um, some of his personal demons, and just advising people, like, if you want to conquer the certain things in life, um, try and list down the things that you feel can trigger your demons, and then you can slowly check them out. So I was just like, okay. I think when I was now watching another different podcast by, I think it's called On Purpose podcast by Jay Shetty. I think one of my favorite podcasters, because I get so much life advice from his episodes. So while I was just watching, I think it was an episode where he was interviewing the late great um, Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul. So, I think they were just talking about this issue, which really hit me, because Kobe used to have, I think, a show on ESPN, if I'm not mistaken, which was called Detail. Now, I've never come across that show, but I liked the idea that sparked like the whole, I think, particularly the title, because they were just talking about things where, I think, moments rather, where it's like you don't always have to like hammer yourself every single day to get a concept out of you. Sometimes you can have just a small idea, but the actual aha moment doesn't really come like when you're in your sanctuary. It comes in a different place. And Kobe was just was just talking about this other day. I think it was at the mall with his wife. And so he just came across a fabric and he was just like, oh, this fabric has some great detail. And then, boom, he gets the title for his show. So that's kind of similar to the way I came up with the idea for this episode. You know, I was just like, I've got certain things that I want to do. It's been a constant thought. It didn't just happen overnight. I've had this thought for like a very long time. So I was just like, man, I need to see how best I can work on these things. So watching Shimon Davis episode, I was just like, oh, what if I just talk about the things that I want to do? Like at least let the audience in on the things that I want to do, you know? And that's how it all came about. And then you have to start um listing down the things that I wanted to do. And here we are. So I'm happy to be doing this episode. And I gotta be honest with you guys. Like one of the biggest reasons why, like if you noticed, I skipped 2 weeks again without releasing any episode. One of the biggest reasons is that uh I'm always telling myself like you can't release an episode that's under um 30 minutes because I started off with like 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, right? And then as I was progressing, I was then getting to 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and one episode that was like an hour long, including interviews with my friends, right? So it's, I think I had just been contemplating, like, you shouldn't do that. But then I noticed, I think I always say some of these things like, there's no rules when it comes to these things, Um, I think it's like when you release a 45-minute episode, there's no harm in releasing a 20-minute episode. But in my mind, I was just like, no, you can't do it because people are now used to, the long episodes. But it doesn't matter the time, even in 10 minutes, you can get so much value compared to an episode that's like 2 hours long, right? It's just an example. I'm not saying stop watching podcasts that are 2 hours long, 1 hour long, but it just depends, There's a place for everyone. So I was just like, you know what? Even if this episode is short, I really don't think it's short because I've spoken so much before even getting into detail. But even if it's short, still, get it out. Like we just want to figure everything out. But then probably I might be digressing a little bit, but I hope it connects. There's a bishop called Dale C. Bronner. I recently came across his content, like his sermons, right, on YouTube. I know some of you football fans might actually be asking, like, is he in any way related to Kevin De Bruyne from Man City? But no, grow up, you know? So I watched his sermon called Start. And if you get the time, do visit his channel. I'll leave um, the link to his channel in the description. I wasn't asked to market any of these things. So the Start, sermon, he was talking about, he actually mentioned something that really, stuck with me. A quote by the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the quote said, "You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step." And then I was just like, man, I wish Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was still alive, man. I could have made him the brand ambassador for this podcast. So by just, hearing those words, I was just like, you know what? Yeah, the first step always matters. Yes, I always talk about first steps, right? But I don't want you guys to think that I've got everything figured out. You know, um, even at this point in time, there's still a lot of things that I still don't know how to do, right? I think you'll actually get to hear some of the things in a bit. But that was the whole idea. Like, just taking the first step, even for this episode. You try to complicate things for yourself. I think I said it in one of the previous episodes. But I was just like, let me just get along with this. And yeah, see how it goes. So I took the first step. Now I'm part of the staircase, and now I've got this episode. So, anyways, um, I think one of the first things that I really want to work on to improve myself is Bible reading and prayer. Because I gotta be honest with you guys. Of course, I might be quoting some Bible verses in some of my episodes, but I don't want you guys to be fooled by the fact that, oh, if he quotes the Bible verses, then he knows everything. No. First of all, my Bible knowledge sucks. I have to be honest with you guys. It sucks. Like when it comes to a Bible quiz, man, I despise those things so much because I know that I don't have any ammunition, right? I'm not well versed in the Bible. I remember this one time we had I think we actually had a Bible quiz at church. It was just a youth gathering. So we were split into two groups, and the group that I was in, like, remember, I think I'm like one of the oldest. I'm one of the oldest. Um at our youth group. So when questions were being asked, you could see some people looking at looking at me, hoping I would give answers, right? Such that when someone would just come up with a name like Jacob, I would just be like, huh, Jacob. Jacob was a bad dude. He was a mad dude, You think it was Jacob? I kind of think so, but I'm not really sure, you're just trying to get away from you know, you're just trying to get away, rather, with the fact that if you name drop, you seem like you know everything, but I don't. I honestly hardly read my Bible. Yeah, and I feel so ashamed of myself when I say all of this. Uh, I've got this application on my phone. It's called YouVersion. If you've never come across it, I encourage you to try it out because it has so many different things that are helpful, right? It has got um, Bible reading plans that cover so many aspects of life: how to pray, how to read the Bible, things about depression, patience, all of those things. You can actually get to learn so many things from that. But yeah, I can say so many things about that because I've been through that. But I never really I never really advanced with that. So I think one of the things to that can help make things easy for us is to not force ourselves to try and get 10 or 20 things done in just one day, particularly when it comes to those reading plans. They've got like 2-day reading plans, 3-day reading plans, 5-day, 21 days. I think there was one that I tried to do that was like 21 days long. I think that's actually the reading plan that drained me. I think it took away so many things from me because I was just like, man, 21 days is way, way too long. But I was just putting too much pressure on myself for nothing. So I just figured out like, okay, something like reading the Bible, right? When I think of my mom, my mom once read the whole Bible. I think back in 2005 when she was recovering from a broken leg. I think she read it twice. And when I when I think of myself, I don't think I've finished two or three chapters of a book, be it Judges, uh, Ruth, Matthew. I don't think I've finished two or three chapters. So that's how bad it is. But um, I don't I don't want to waste time just dwelling on the negatives. And the Bible isn't something that I have to um, tell myself that I'm going to start reading it in September or November. I have to start now, like today, from the day that I'm recording this episode. I have to read the Bible because I mean, the Bible um, is the one thing that guides us, in the life that we live. So I have to start now. And I'm always laughing when I hear some of my friends um, talking about stories in the Bible. They can actually tell you like, oh, you know, uh, Jacob at like 1 p.m., that's when he headed back to that place and he had to chill with his boys. He had to do this, he had to do that. He had a cool meal. He had like, I'm like, Jacob did all of that. Like, sometimes it feels fake, it feels stupid. But then, um, if you're well versed in the Bible, you can actually, you know, say so many things. I remember Paddington. This other day, he actually told me that there was this man in the Bible who was left-handed. He put out a sword, and yeah, I can't even finish the story, but I was just like, the Bible had people like that. I don't want to kick anyone in the face. Like, Paddington is so well versed in the Bible. So I'm always telling myself, like, okay, I need to at least get into that vibe, because I think the way I tried to read the Bible was from I think it was from a red tape point of view, where it's just like you're putting too much instructions on yourself, you know. But it just has to be a thing where you read the Bible like maybe a movie or something. Um, you create different illusions in your head so that you actually understand the Bible. So I didn't really know how to read the Bible, but I guess by just trying it out, opening the Bible, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Martin Luther King, I just need to take the first step. I have to live this not just on the camera, but even when it comes to the Bible and also prayer too. My prayer life, guys, yeah, it is something else. It's like it's not like I don't pray at all, but I don't pray consistently. And the Bible actually encourages us to pray, you know? Um it's like I think most days I have thoughts like I need to pray, like before I sleep. Oh, I gotta pray. But then I'm just like, yeah, I'll see to it tomorrow, or I'll see to it the next day, the following day. The next day becomes like 2, 3 years, without without any prayer. And I think it's not a good thing, because prayer really changes things. Um, I've experienced it myself. If you've watched episode 4, How God Made Me a Living Testimony, when I thought I had so many, so many different diseases, a heart disease, all of those things, but I prayed for my situation and God actually healed me, you know. But then from that, I was no longer consistent. So these are just some of the things that I really need to work on. And I think also uh, I just felt like I needed to start reading books because in my academic career, you know, I was my machine. I mean, camera. Damn it. Okay, so my camera time was running out, so I had to switch to stop recording and start recording another clip as well. So, anyways, back to reading books. Um, my academic life, I wasn't successful. I think you've seen my one of the episodes, unqualified but unbeatable. So I just had a problem, you know, laziness particularly. I never enjoyed reading. So even after even after school, I just thought to myself like, now reading is not a thing for me. But when you come across different people who like to read, I know some of these things come naturally when it comes to people. And to some, like me, it doesn't have to come naturally. You have to like train yourself to do that. So I usually come across people who just tell me that reading actually helps you, it helps your vocabulary, it helps your mind, it helps you relax, all of those things. And I think I've done a few reading, particularly when it comes to digital books like EPUBs. Uh, and I'll be honest with you, I think most of the books that I've read uh, were wrestling biographies. I read Brock Lesnar's book. I think I read Daniel Bryan's book as well. So yeah, it's kind of sounds stupid, right? But I will tell you that those two books actually made me see things from a different perspective. But then I wasn't consistent when I read those books. So I was just like, you know what? Um, Let me create this habit of reading books, especially this time around. Me and Paddington are now working on Aptitude Legends full time, our own company, right? Our own motion design and animation studio. So, as CEO, as a director, you need to be, you know, you need to be open minded, and books are some of the things that can actually open the mind. So I was just like, all right, let me let me see what I can do with that. And I think, in a way, it is in my blood. My dad likes to read, and my late uncle, if you watched the episode Stolen Words, Stanley Mufudza, he was one of the best writers, but he was also a huge fan of reading. And you could actually see from the way he spoke, from the way he carried himself, you could actually see that, yeah, the books are really doing justice on this guy. So I was just like, yeah, I think let me start working on reading books. Um I guess sometimes we want to take the easy way out, like going on the internet. I think there's a YouTuber who summarizes books, novels in particular, and he does it in a cool way, like animation. I think I've watched a few episodes of his, but I was just like, okay, it's cool, it's interesting, I like it. I can always still watch those, right? But I really need to open a book and really give myself time. I tried to, I think there's a book that we have. Um, oh, the cat, say hi. There's a book, right, that we've had for a very long time. This book is called How to Write and Speak Better. You know, I've been seeing this book for most parts of my life on on some bookshelves in our lounge. I've opened this book for I think a few times just to see the contents that are in here. But to say I really sit down with it, I never really did, because I was just like, this book is big. I don't like big books. But recently, like last week, I just chose to like open the book and just see if I can actually start reading it. So I switched off my laptop and I switched off. No, I didn't really switch off my phone. I just put my phone aside and I was just like, you know what? Um, Let me try and see what I can get from this book. So when I read just, I think was it like the first two pages, probably the introduction, uh, I actually I actually felt some type of way, I actually felt different. Like, okay, this book actually teaches you how to pronounce words, how to speak, how to write, all of these different things. So I was just like, you know what? I actually need to work on like reading books, like a hard copy, not these digital ones, because they're so distractive. When you're opening your phone, right? You can simply go to Instagram. You can simply respond to a text from your friend or anyone. So I was just like, yeah, I need to link myself up with someone who's really good at books. And who better than my good friend Ropa Fadzogusha, the one I interviewed in the Peaks and Valleys of Life episode. So she's a reader. She's so much into books. So on Sunday after church, I was actually talking to her like I want to get into the habit of reading books. So she was just like, "Yeah, cool." And I was just like, "I want you to like help me because um you are more experienced when it comes to these things. I want to read a book. I want someone to help me be accountable, start and finish, right? Then we can talk about what I learned in the book, sharing ideas and all of these things. And then she suggested the book called The Alchemist. And it's like a famous book that most readers actually talk about. So I was just like, yeah, I'll actually get the book today, the day that I'm recording this episode. It's a Wednesday, Wednesday 7th of August is the day that I'm getting The Alchemist. And well, we didn't really discuss the deadline, the cutoff where I should like come back with feedback, you know. So I'm really excited to like embark on this journey of reading books because yeah, they are helpful to a certain extent. So I mean, yeah, it will definitely boost my leadership skills, and I also think it can also help me with reading the Bible as well. If I can be consistent with those two, then yeah, I'll definitely I'll definitely be a beast. So yeah, that is that. And then the next thing as well is I want to try basketball. Yeah. Why I want to try basketball? I think one of the things is funny enough, I don't watch basketball. I've never created the time to watch it, but I just think it's something cool. For me, it's like a skill that's really that's much needed in my arsenal. And why I decided to try basketball, I tried football and I've become better at football. So it's just a thing where it's more about challenging myself, giving it a shot and seeing if I can actually get down with it. And I know I will because as far as things go, I'm able to do just two crossovers and just bouncing the ball a little bit. So I used to lie to people, like um, I last played basketball in high school like 15 years ago. And then I would take the ball, bounce it a little bit, and do the only two crossovers that I can do. And just like, you see, it's been a long time. And then people will just be like, yeah, 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 it's been a long time for sure. But that's a damn lie. I've never played basketball in my career, but I actually want to, practice basketball. I had a friend of mine a couple of years back who was really good at basketball, and I actually asked him to teach me how to play basketball, and he was just like, "Cool, I can teach you." So I was just like, I think one of the things that stopped me, it's probably the only thing, I'm sure. Um, I just told him, and I was just like, I don't feel confident practicing while people are watching me. And he was just like, if you've got heart, you won't even think of any of that. But I guess it was in my younger days. Now I'm in a different zone. Now I'm a little bit more mature. So, yeah, basketball is the next skill on my checklist. And I tell you, I'm gonna be telling you, I think maybe in a month's time or 2 months' time, that yeah, I'm in a different space. You're gonna be seeing videos, all of those things. Yeah, basketball, I'm coming for you. And I'm actually thinking, I think Glenn is uh, is a good basketball player. So he's probably the one that's gonna teach me. He's young, but yeah, you need someone else to to elevate yourself. So basketball, that's another goal of mine. And another interesting thing, driving.
What did you just say?
It it actually sounds weird, you know. I got my license in 2016, right? And I think it was actually late 2016. And from early 2017, I would practice with my friend's car, Tawanda Perai's car. He was actually the one who taught me how to drive, like from scratch. So the few times that I drove his car, I actually enjoyed, and I was actually, you know, gaining a little bit of confidence. But I can't really remember what affected. I think his car was actually damaged, like the gearbox. I was actually the one who was driving. So when I was trying to reverse, I didn't really press the clutch down to the core. So I actually felt the gearbox grinding, and that's when the problem persisted. And so I was just like, I felt really bad about it. And then I was just like, whose car am I gonna drive next? So I think from 2017 up to now, I haven't, yeah, I haven't driven a car. And one of the things that made me feel stupid about it was I think in 2018, late 2018, shortly after we actually before just before we started Aptitude Legends, um my sister, my cousin sister, Sibongile Moyo, this flu is actually limiting my pronunciations, but well, we just gotta go. So Sibongile had actually offered to buy me a laptop, the one that I actually use for the work that I do. So we met in town. She bought the laptop. So we were with the mother too, with Sibongile's mother and Sibongile's son, my nephew. So we went to Belgravia to have some lunch. We had a good time. And then Sibongile's mother was actually passing the keys to me, like, okay, you can keep the keys. And I was like, why? Then she was just like, well, so you can drive. And I was like, Mom, I appreciate that. But honestly speaking, um, I'm not confident when it comes to driving. Then she was like, okay, uh, I appreciate that. At least you're not someone else who could just have been uh, overconfident and took the keys, and next thing you would kill us, you know? So when we were driving, when we left Belgravia, we actually went to Mount Pleasant to drop Sibongile's mother. And after Mount Pleasant, we had to drive to Avonlea to my grandmother's place, because I was at my granny's place for like the weekend. So yeah, had to drive there. So along the way, the nephew, his name is Sam. Sam starts giving us problems. Sam starts crying because I was sitting at the back with him, right? Because you can't uh, sit in the front with a kid, it's dangerous. So Sam starts crying like crazy. And then Sibongile was just like, "Ah, man, what do we do? What do we do? So can't you drive?" And then I was like, no, no, I can't. I can't. She kept on insisting. I didn't want to take the wheel, you know? So what ended up happening was I had to give Sibongile the kid, and then she had to drive with the kid on her lap. The kid is crying, like he's bawling, he's crying, you know, like he could actually have, I don't know, injured his vocals or something. But yeah, the kid was crying like crazy. And so we had to stop at a service station, and Sibo had to call her mom, like, yo, can you come pick us up and drive us to Avonlea? Because Sam is actually giving us problems, you know? And so Sibo's mother came and she actually drove us to Avonlea, and man, I think that was the worst day of my life. It started off as the best day because I had just gotten a laptop, right? But then I couldn't drive. I could have just done Sibo a favor, but I couldn't, you know? And so I was just like, yeah, man, I gotta start getting serious with driving. So I was just like, at least I need to go for, you know, refresher lessons. But I think my sister was just like, you don't need refresher lessons. Flu. You don't need those lessons. You just need someone. You've got friends with cars. Just start practicing with people's cars, right? So, yeah, I think it's just one of the things that I really, really need to work on because there's so many limitations when it comes to me not being a confident driver. I guess maybe that's why I haven't been blessed with a car yet because I'm not utilizing the skills. So I have to take the first step when it comes to when it comes to driving. So yeah, I'm going to be telling you about that. And now there's something called social media. Man, social media is it's just something on its own. It has its pros and it has its cons. For me, I think I've struggled so much when it comes to Instagram. You know, it's like when I get on Instagram, most of the time I want to see football updates, right? Or maybe things that I have to do with with my line of work, be it videography, photography, uh, designing, podcasting, all of those things. And my battery is flashing. Damn it. All right, so I'm back, changed the battery, and we can continue. So I was just talking about social media, all right? And social media is like a cage, particularly for me. I'd like to like speak for myself because most of the time I go particularly on Instagram. I'm an Instagram kind of person. Um, I usually get stuck in this loop where I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I can spend maybe 30, 40 minutes just scrolling. And then you then start to think of like, oh man, these 40 minutes I could have done this, I could have done that, So it's been a cage for me. And so I was just like, I really need to work on myself when it comes to social media. You know, um, there's certain different people that I follow. I follow people from like the ones that do cinematography, music production, all of these different things. People that do tutorials, uh, people that I actually follow. So I was just like, for me to be able to control myself when it comes to social media, I have to at least know the purpose that I'm going on Instagram. You know, at least if I know that I'm going to learn, then I certainly gotta go and open at least one profile of a cinematographer or a photographer and then just browse through their videos. Educational stuff is much more important. Like just seeing tutorials on a daily basis. It's like um I'm always sharing content with Glenn, particularly when it comes to CapCut. That's a really, really interesting video editing tool. And I'm just like, okay, at least if we do things like these, where we're just, of course, sometimes we want to have fun, you come across memes, but then when you don't control yourself, those memes are what take away the most important parts of your life when it comes to social media. I get it. There's like people actually create memes for a living, right? Yeah, to each their own. But when I speak for myself, I'm like, I gotta watch memes to a certain point where I have to understand, like, okay, I think the detox has been okay, but now I have to get back to the knowledgeable stuff. So I think that's my way of limiting like the whole social media thing, because without any limits, I actually know that social media is something that's definitely gonna kill me, and I have to like write things down. Like, okay, if I'm going on social media, I'm going to look for certain things that can help with my professional career, and at least give myself a time limit. It can be difficult to execute it at first, but if it becomes a habit, like you have to starve yourself of something like that. Like, okay, I have to go for like 15 minutes, I have to go for like 10 minutes and just watch a couple of random um, educational videos. I think that can actually help me very much. So yeah, because I don't want to feel caged anymore, especially when it comes to social media. Social media is very, very distractive if you can't control yourself when it comes to something like that. So yeah, that's just one of the things. And also another part of my bucket list is hitting the gym, you know. Like I want to be buff, and it's not just I don't just want to be buff for the sake of it. I just want to go to the gym to gain fitness, right? And build a much positive mind. As far as things go, I'm skinny. I've been skinny ever since I was a kid, but to a certain extent, I know we're not supposed to look down upon ourselves. But to certain extents, I gotta be honest with you guys. I sometimes lose confidence because of the way that I look. I'm just like, man, I just wish I could I could look different. But that's the problem. It's wishful thinking. If I could think of it and then go to the gym directly, I'm sure it could have changed things. But then the one thing that actually makes me feel negative when it comes to myself is I then don't do that thing which I feel could actually make things different for my life. So I actually want to start hitting the gym. And I think there's like CMAS, it's a medical aid society. They offer free services to people who are under CMAS. Like we've got a CMAS medical aid. So I was just like, there's CMAS that's in Borodale, and easy access is when I'm staying in Mount Pleasant at Paddington's house. That's where our office is. So I was just like, if I can make a plan to go to that place, I think that would actually be good. But I didn't start thinking of the gym like recently. I once hit the gym a couple of years ago with my really good friends Tinashe Chikanda and um, Tinashe Kanyama. We would usually go, I think, every day in the morning. We would actually jog first and then we would hit the gym. And it was actually fun because we could actually, you know, push each other. But then when Tinashe Chikanda went away, when Tinashe Kanyama got busy with certain things, I I had no one else to consistently push me to hit the gym. Sometimes I would go on my own, but then I was no longer consistent. So I think it also needs someone who can actually motivate you. Yes, yes, you can discipline yourself to a certain extent, right? But you also need someone who can help you be accountable for the things that you've promised yourself. So in this case, I know I've got Paddington, who I can, you know, we can actually push each other to like hit the gym, because especially when you own a business, you need to be on your A game when it comes to your mental state and your physical ability. So these are some of the reasons why I also want to hit the gym. Yes, I want to feel good. Yes, I want clothes to actually fit properly, right? But more than anything, it has to do with the mental state. Sometimes I jog, sometimes I don't, you know, but the few times that I've jogged, it has actually helped me so much with my mental state. So the gym is like it's it's a new wave, because it has more to do with lifting weights, something that puts so much pressure and pain on your body. But then diamonds, are actually made from that pressure. So if you want to be a diamond, then you have to go through things like the gym and everything. So I'm just like, yeah, let me get to that. And then, yeah, another bucket list too is well, another thing on the bucket list is it's public speaking. I've always been a fan of public speaking for quite some time. So I credit the church that I go to, St. Martin's Anglican Church here in Southerton, for giving me the platform to be able to speak in front of congregants, be it through Bible readings, sermons, notices as a church warden. That really helped me grow. There was one time I was asked to do a speech. I think it was my young my young brother's memorial service. So that it was actually my mom who um I don't I don't know what happened with the camera. It's like the angle looks different. And these are some of the things that affect me. But anyways, let's just get things done. But so yeah, I was asked to do a speech on a memorial service. And then I did, and people actually came to me, like my relatives, like, I didn't know you were that good at speaking in front of people. I was just like, oh, really? You think so? Because I mean, I I always um I always thought that I wasn't good at anything because I wasn't successful in my academic career. But yeah, public speaking was actually something that was born and bred in church. So it's something that I actually want to elevate when it comes to my skills, because I feel like even when I'm speaking, even right now, I know there's so many things that I'm lurking that someone else who's more proficient in those things can, you know, can listen to that and help me perfect that skill. So I'm I really I really enjoy it. Like when I think of the time I went to the Redeemed by Christ Church to present and talk about branding, I really enjoyed that, you know. So I was just like, I need more platforms like that, like the real world platforms, so that I can actually, yeah, I can actually perfect my skill. And also there's the book, the the big book, the big book actually talks about, um speaking better, how to write and speak better. So there's also so many lessons from this book as well. So yeah, I'll probably get to work with this. And I have a friend who went for, like, I think a course, a public speaking course. I think it was like a number of days. Yeah, I didn't want to get too specific with the numbers because I was probably going to get them wrong. But she went for that course, and I think she's on the verge of graduating. She actually told me, like, yeah, it's kind of expensive, but worth it at the end of the day. And I was like, once I get money, I'm gonna go for it. Like, yeah, I think the only time I graduated was in preschool. So now I want to graduate with public speaking. So now I'm saying public speaking. But yeah, I'm gonna graduate with public speaking. I'm actually putting that into the universe. And you're gonna see me on this podcast telling you that I made it. Just watch this space. And now, here's the interesting thing. I'm a huge fan of music. Now, I bought a MIDI keyboard, I think sometime in, okay, I think back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, 2022, 2021. Did I say mistaking or mistaken? Whatever. Back back in 2021 or 2022, to enhance my skills when it comes to music production. So I'm gonna do a separate episode that dives into my whole uh, musical journey. So I bought that, and I I've never practiced playing the piano ever since I bought it. Because in my mind, I'm just telling myself, like, oh, the piano is very, very difficult to use. But then, do I really need to see the whole staircase? No. So I think I had the thought of practicing the piano when I saw my nephew. I think he was playing with there's this piano application on his phone. So he was just playing with it. And then I was just like, okay, let me see what I can do on this. I think the first song that I started playing, I was botching all the way, but I had a few keys that I was just playing around with. The song that I played, it was "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa and one of my favorite artists, Charlie Puth. So I was just like, okay, this is interesting. This is actually fun. I was messing up, but I was actually doing something right. So I was just like, let me really invest. I already have the MIDI keyboard. I have to I just have to give myself time. Like I said earlier, it's like we just want to do everything all at once, but we have to give ourselves time. It can be a week, days, months, whatever. And there's this guy from the hood. His name is Musa. I actually met the guy. We bumped into each other the day that I bought the MIDI keyboard, and then he was just like, "Okay, that's good. This is nice." A couple of days later, he was just like, when I saw you carrying the MIDI keyboard, I felt so challenged that I needed to get my own. So I think he had to speak to a friend of his from his church, and he borrowed a keyboard, right? And then that friend actually started teaching him the keyboard. Now, he was he had never played the keyboard before. Trust me on this. He had never played the keyboard before. And so he started learning. He would actually put like stickers of each and every note from the piano. So every time I would come across him, he would actually tell me, "Oh, yeah, my friend has been teaching me this, my friend has been teaching me that." Next day or next time I would meet him, like, "Oh, I removed the stickers because now I know the notes by, by heart." And then next thing is telling me like, "Oh, I'm hearing something on the keyboard. I was telling my friend I'm hearing something on the keyboard. I think the keyboard needs to be fixed or I need to get a new keyboard." And then the friend was just like, "So now is your time. You have become a master at this." And then I was just like, "Yo, this dude has been progressing. I haven't been doing anything with my keyboard. It's fairly new. And I've been doing nothing with it." And he actually gave me his number so that I could contact him, right? So he could actually teach me. But then I was just like, "No, I've got YouTube, I've got this," but then still I got YouTube. I never did anything with YouTube, you know. So yeah, that's also one of the things that I want to do. And here's the thing, I have to swallow my pride, swallow my ego, and call Musa so he can actually teach me how to play the piano. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And then still on music, I gotta learn to play the guitar. Uh I had a guitar back in 2010. I got it from my late uncle, Stanley Mafudza. Not only was he a reader and a writer, he was also a really good guitarist. He tried to teach me, I think, in my younger days, but then I wasn't patient enough. I wasn't mature enough to learn from him. So when he passed on, I got the guitar. It's just a tradition that we do in our Shona culture. So I got the guitar. I tried practicing. Ah, man, I was so bad at it. And okay, I think now is my cue to actually fix the camera angle because my camera is flashing again. Just a quick one. Okay, I'm back. Not much difference. But anyways, um, I was talking about the guitar, right? So yeah, I had the guitar. Um, I tried learning, but then yeah, I thought it was hard, and I wasn't patient enough to learn, or rather just to give myself time to really master the whole thing. So I ended up lending the guitar to my good friend Warren H. Warren H wanted to, like, he's a sick producer, he's a sick rapper, a crazy musician. So he actually wanted to do some stuff with the guitar. So I gave it to him. And here's the interesting thing, Warren actually learned how to play the guitar. And he actually became really, really good at it. Unfortunately, I don't have any clips of him playing. I think I've got a few audio clips, unreleased songs. Unfortunately, I can't play those songs here on the spot. But I think I can. I think I can because Warren actually gave me some access to to most of his music, even the unreleased stuff. So yeah, just have a listen to this.
She says you're not thinking about anything.
So that's the brother. Play, man. Chill, chill. That's the brother playing the music. So, you know, I don't know. I think with me, I just have to work really, really hard to attain certain skills. I just didn't have the discipline. I just didn't, you know, have the patience to learn that I needed to be disciplined to really be good at something. But now I'm using football as a stepping stone to anything that I want to try. Football is like the hardest things to do, but if I was able to start and learn and become better each time I tried, I think I just have to shift that mindset to playing the guitar, shift that mindset to playing the piano, and shift that mindset to vocal lessons. You know, um, when it comes to singing, you know, I've got a deep voice, so I'm just like, I don't sound like just Jason Derulo. I don't sound like Chris Brown. I don't sound like Mario. I certainly don't sound like Michael Jackson. You know, I certainly don't sound like Takura. I was a Zimbabwean artist. I certainly don't sound like, Nyasha David. We've got people like K Chaps. We've got people like Nutty O. I don't sound like any of those guys because my voice is deep. So I'm always, limited when it comes to doing these things. I've got a couple of friends who can teach me vocal lessons, but I'm always telling myself, like, it's hard, And still, if I learn, who would want to listen to me singing with a deep voice? Well, Barry White got away with it, but I won't get away with it. That's the stuff that I've always told myself. But yeah, I think it's 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 just a thing where I just have to shift my mindset so that I can do something that's really, really productive. It's something that's doable. That much I know. But starting, I really need to remove or rather because I know there's certain people out there that are facing the same issues that I'm facing, who really need to remove the idea of seeing the whole staircase. Let's just take the first step and we'll be okay. And, last but not least, I gotta work on being less shy. I think you've actually seen how I perform in front of the camera. Actually, when I'm in front of the camera, it's actually a different story. It's actually a different story than when I'm with people. I struggle looking at people in the eye. I really struggle with that. If you've seen Bloodsport, when Jean-Claude Van Damme kind of lost his sight when I don't know what Boloyang, tossed in Van Damme's eyes. When you see that clip, he's trying to focus, he's trying to understand what was going on. He kind of looked blind. Like, that's how I look. I don't mean to be sensitive or anything like that, but it's kind of the look that I usually have when I'm talking to people. I'm usually like this. I'm not looking at you. I might be facing you, but my eyes are focused on something else. So it's something that I'm always telling myself, like, I really, really need to work on my confidence. It's something that doesn't change in an instance, but I can work on it, on a daily basis and get really, really, really good at it. I don't like classifying myself as an introvert. These terms that usually circulate on, the internet or in society generally, because there's the introvert and then the extrovert. I don't usually like to classify myself as an introvert because I feel like I'll just box myself. I want to be better. I want to grow. So if I just say, oh, I'm an introvert, then I'm just going to sit back and just tell myself, like, oh, yeah, I'm not, you know, I'm not someone who's confident enough, man. I just lost it. I just lost it. But yeah, I'm sure you guys got my point, what I was trying to say. I don't like classifying myself as an introvert. So yeah, I think these are some of the things that I'm looking forward to, uh, you know, building upon what I already have. Of course, I'm not going to do everything all at once. I'm just going to prioritize. And I think to make things easy for whoever was following along with this, I think the best thing is to prioritize and start working with the attainable goals. The things that seem simple, the things that seem small are the things that you can start working on, and then you can build it up. Because when you start working on the small things, right, it becomes a habit. You actually feel good for working on the small thing and accomplishing it. You know what I mean? So I think that's just the advice for every single one of you guys who struggle with pretty much the things that I was talking about, or people who've got goals like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. I think you can just follow. I don't know if I can call it a blueprint or something. Yeah, but I guess you can just follow along, and yeah, I think we should be okay. So that's the end of it. You know, yeah, that's the end. Okay, so we have come to the end of the episode. And if you've been getting value from my content, please leave your thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to know what you guys think. And one thing that I actually learned from Shimon Davis, he gave people like challenges, right? So taking a page from his book, I'm actually giving every single one of you guys a challenge, right? You can just take a piece of paper or just go in your notes on your phone, right? And just list down the things you feel are important when it comes to leveling up in your life. You don't always have to complicate things for yourself. You can just start by writing two things today, and then add on to that list tomorrow with extra two things. You can just do it in the space of a week, right? And then you see by the end of the week how much you need to work on yourself. And then you start by selecting, the things that are small, the things that are attainable, and you just build up from there. So that's my challenge to you guys. Do not forget to leave a like. And if you are subscribed, please do share the link to be it your relatives, your friends, and let's grow together. But if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Let's grow together. We need the family to grow. And so, yeah, I hope you guys learned so much from this video. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.